Hello, and welcome to Nation Underdog. I'm Mark Harvey. Today we're going to be talking about the question of art and society and how the two of them mix together. And specifically we'll talk about the time period in which rock and roll started developing, and the question really is, to what extent do these two relate together? That is, do musicians and the music they create somehow have a larger impact on the society that surrounds them? So I'd like you to return with me to my office and we'll talk about that. Is rock and roll art? I think it's an interesting question. Is this kind of a joke? The second that rock becomes art, some would argue it loses something. Rock and roll lives most powerfully in the moment because it's a popular form of expression. It was never meant to be enduring. Since the economic boom from 1945 to 1973, you have all these people with extra money and extra time, and they have access to art in a way that only elites did in the previous generation. And they could buy their little samples of art for just pennies on the dollar. If it was art, it was certainly a disposable form of art. It wasn't meant to endure. It was meant for the moment. However, from the beginning, if you even look at Elvis Presley or the Beatles, they ended up becoming something larger than the art, or larger than the original form in which it was intended, and sort of took on a life of itself and sort of made rock safe for art. That was certainly true of the Beatles. People didn't conceive of the Beatles, for example, being anything other than a rock band. But when they play songs like On the One Hand are as conventional as Yesterday, or as unconventional as Revolution Number 9, people just start saying, well, that's a Beatles song, therefore it's a rock song. And so you're sort of defining rock as something much broader than what it was originally intended, and thinking about it in terms of, what's the artistic intent? How can I take this musical form and say something about it, say something interesting about it? So that's another question that's worth thinking about in this course. Is rock art? Does it deserve to be studied in that way? How does art in general, and rock in particular, affect society? As I said before, rock wasn't a music that was intended for the elites. It was intended for the masses. And whenever you empower the masses, and whenever you have entrepreneurs using music as a means to make a buck, hey, money, that's what I want, right? Then you have a lot of people in the establishment really getting threatened, and certainly some people in the establishment taking advantage of folks who are trying to work their way up as well. And so it's worth talking about these issues. It's also worth asking questions like, to what extent does music and art affect society? Or are they merely a reflection of what's already going on in society? Are they some sort of a fuel that's just piled upon a fire that's already going on? Again, these are questions that I don't have answers to, but they are things we're going to be talking about throughout this course, which I think make it exciting and interesting beyond the musical form, which really started off this discussion. So, in summary, think about these questions throughout this course and see if you can come up with your own answers, right? To what extent is rock art? And to what extent does it affect the society at large?